Hello, how are you getting on? Are you well? I'm doing good, thanks for asking. This is me, Robby from English Family, and today is Saturday and I'm sitting in and I just thought why not make short video for my website visitors and YouTube channel subscribers and tell you how I improve my own English. Because so far I've been always giving advice to you how you can improve your English fluency and what you have to do and what not to do when speaking English. Let's talk about myself. Let's see how Robby goes about his English fluency. Alright, so thing number one that I do on a daily basis to keep my fluency at a high level and keep improving it is speaking. That's the thing number one. Speak, speak, speak. Speak as often as you can. Speak as much as you can. Speak with others. I speak with you see, I started giving you advice. That's a very bad habit, isn't it? I should be focusing on myself in this video. I'm too much into the whole mentoring thing, right? Okay. I speak with my work colleagues. I work in an English-speaking environment, and I have plenty of opportunities to talk with my superiors, with my colleagues, with other staff in the manufacturing plant where I work. So I use all those opportunities to speak as much as I can, as far as it doesn't interfere with my duties at work, alright? And then I speak with myself too. Whenever I get a chance, say today, I brought my daughter's horse riding, and I had a walk around the woods with my dog, and I was talking with myself, because there was no one to hear me. I was just reflecting on my own thoughts, and it's a perfect way of getting into the habit of thinking in English, forgetting about your native language for a moment and switching completely over to English. That's one of the basic factors that lays foundation for a strong English fluency, right? So that's as far as speaking goes, speaking practice, right? I speak with myself, speak with others, and you should do the same. And what else I do? I have a small pocket dictionary. Well, it's not really a dictionary in its common sense, because this is where I write down phrases. Whenever I hear a new English word, I look it up online on websites like wordnik.com or dictionary.com or thefreedictionary.com, and I see what other words that word collocates with, what are the most common phrases including that word. So it's all about context, and then I write the whole phrase and I explain what it means. An example phrase: I was inundated with phone calls. I heard the word inundated, and then I must have heard it again, and it got me thinking like what it is, like, because it wasn't quite clear from the context. Then I looked it up. I was inundated with calls. It's a very common situation to describe when someone is inundated with something. When you're sitting in an office and you're getting plenty of phone calls, you're inundated with that, right? And how I go about making this phrase part of my active vocabulary is I would memorize the phrase, I would repeat it. I would go through these a couple of times a day, and I would memorize the phrase. Like, I was inundated with calls, I was inundated with calls. And the good thing is that it's not just this phrase. You'd be able to use this word in similar contexts in actual conversations, right? And this is another way how I keep my spoken English constantly improving. Learning new words, new phrases, memorizing them. And I never, ever look up words in English Latvian dictionary. Years ago, I used to have dozens of such similar dictionaries where I'd have lists of words and the respective translations in Latvian. That's a definite no-no. It doesn't work. It messes up your mind. It causes the English fluency issue that I've been having for years and that the English Family system deals with. By the way, is the famous English harmony system. I'm talking about 3 modules, 60 speech exercising lessons, 10 meditation lessons. Will improve your English fluency in no time. If your English is already good but you're struggling with expressing yourself normally and you get stuck in the middle of a conversation quite often, this is what you need. Alright, a bit of advertising in between. And what else I do? I have hobbies like playing guitar. It's all about English, right? So I would learn popular English songs, and by learning the lyrics and learning how to play them, I would repeat phrases countless times and they would become second nature and they would become engraved into my mind. Say this song. And when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be, let it be. When I find myself in times of trouble, when I find myself in something, it's a typical English phrase. And when you repeat it, you memorize it, then you can produce it automatically on relevant occasions in similar contexts, right? When I find myself in a very awkward situation, I freeze and I don't know what to do. When I find myself in, right? And another phrase from this very verse. My own walking sheet is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom. She's standing right in front of me. Right in front of me. That's the way natives speak. Right in front of me. So by copying and mimicking this phrase, you can sound more native-like and your English will improve, and so does mine. Right in front of me. And I could use it in similar contexts when I describe things like, say, I was walking down the road and then a rabbit jumps right in front of me, right? Good example, isn't it? And then another song, Country Roads. You know that one? Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Country mama, take me home. I hear her voice in the morning, how she calls me, and the radio reminds me of my home far away. And driving down the road I get the feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Country road. And driving down the road. It's a typical way native English speakers would speak about the process of sitting in a car and driving down the road. We foreigners would probably say things like, and then I was driving in the car, or sitting in the car, or driving along the road, which is not incorrect. You would be understood, and that's another point I'm making in my blog. It's one of the basic things, is that you can always paraphrase. You don't have to stick with the exact phrase used by natives, and in case you can't remember it, then you're lost. No, it's not like that. You can improvise, and it's that ability to improvise and use your own words that makes you a fluent English speaker. But then, in this case, driving down the road is a typical way, like as natives speak, and by learning this song, learning the lyrics, memorizing the phrase, I can comfortably use the phrase even without making any conscious effort. Then I was driving down the road. I'd be talking to my work colleague William, and I'd be telling him that something extraordinary happened in my state where I live. I'd be telling him, then I was driving down the road, and And then all of a sudden I saw the accident on the left-hand side, and then I pulled over and I jumped out of the car. But the phrase "I was driving down the road" would have come from this song, you know what I mean? And that's how I improve my English. I speak a lot. I read. Did I mention reading? Sorry, I forgot reading. I always have a book with me. I go to work, I drop the book into the bag, sit in the lunch break, pull the book out, have a good read. It's good for your overall English fluency and English knowledge. Not so much for the spoken language, because by reading alone, you'll widen your horizons, you'll acquire more passive vocabulary. But if you don't practice your spoken English, much biggest part of that vocabulary would remain in your passive vocabulary. You wouldn't be able to use it in actual conversations, right? But it's still great as means of improving your overall English knowledge. And I'm a keen reader, and I'm a big fantasy fan, and this is a typical fantasy book that I'm reading. It might look like a fairy tale, but it's not one of those. It's got much psychologically deeper meaning to it than just killing dragons and waving light swords and things like that, you know. So that's another thing that I do, and I suggest you start doing it too. In case you're dreading reading English, if you think that it's too difficult, just read this blog post where I'm explaining how to achieve reading fluency even with limited vocabulary, right? That's another thing that I do. And of course I write articles for this blog. I write a lot. I post about 7-8 articles a month, which is my math is very bad, 3-4 days. So I'm constantly writing, and my trick is that I write as I speak. You know, when I type on the computer, I'm typing the blog post, I would actually speak what I'm typing. Okay, to improve your spoken English fluency, you have to do these things, the following things, right? And then, of course, in the actual text file, you can just go back and edit things, but the main blueprint of the article is spoken aloud. That's how I do these things. That's how I go about writing. And I've been posting a few guest blog posts about successful writing on David's blog, and the most important advice is you have to imagine that you're talking to someone, and that's the most efficient way to get started on writing if you need to do some writing. And most people are dreading it because they don't know how to go about it. They just sit in front of a plain sheet or a Word file and they're stuck, they're frozen, they don't know how to put it all in writing. It's just speaking, you know. You have to speak. You have to imagine you're speaking to someone, because spoken word is primary. It's always been first, you know. People have been speaking for tens of thousands, even if not hundreds of thousands of years, but writing has developed comparatively recently, you know. A child learns to speak first and only then read and write. So there you go. And that's my day. There are so many hours in a day and I can't do any more, but this is enough to constantly keep my spoken English improving. So there you go. Thanks for your attention and thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Bye.